Welcome. My name is Hans Jakob Bonnier and I'm the chairman of the Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce. The title today is very complicated. It's my colleague Jerry Ralowski who has invented it. Innovative solutions and disruptive techniques in construction and real estate. Well, I'm not in construction or real estate. I happen to be in media. But we do have some real estate in our little family company, which is doing very fine. So I've been hearing a little about it. Today it's all about sustainability and sustainable business models. Well, some is about energy optimization. We have drilled 134 holes in the ground to get bergvärme. I don't want what that is in English, but anyway, so this house is completely warmed by bergvärme. And that is what is coming. And SunRoof, of course. We don't have SunRoof, so we don't have so much roof on this house because it's glass, etc. But and what you have, green bonds. You can loan money on green projects, which is also very good. So I want to present today's moderator, Mr. Konrad.
So my name is Konrad Szczęsny. For you that you're not Polish, you don't have to pronounce my surname. I'm actually the only Konrad in the city of Stockholm where I usually work. So Konrad will suffice just fine. Thank you very much for getting me the opportunity to moderate this talk. It's a very interesting subject, although a very long title. But we'll be touching, as Mr. Chairman said, upon the areas of PropTech, construction and real estate, some industries that are huge and very, very disruptive in the way that they affect many of us and affect our everyday. So we're going to go through a range of speakers that I'm going to present you with their solutions, both that are happening right now, but also for the future of these two businesses. And we'll also end with a panel discussion on how we think, we're going to try to look into the future at least and see how the industries will look like in 5 or 10 years. I'm just going to inform you that because it's October, it's raining outside and it's cold season, we have a few changes in the program. So unfortunately, Anna Denel will not be joining us today. We really hope that she will have the opportunity to do that at another occasion. And we also have Marcin Wangos, which will not be participating in a panel because of the same reason, of course. We also hope to have him here at a later date. But enough about me and enough about the program. I would like to start with presenting our first speaker today. He has an extensive experience of working in construction and in real estate, and of course with residential development in many countries, among them both Sweden and Poland. He works for a company that probably most of you know. It's called Skanska, just a small construction company. And he was the one in the team that introduced Skanska Residential to Poland in 2011. Of course, Skanska is a construction and real estate company that is very well known for their innovative culture and the fostering of how to transform their own industry. They're always at the forefront. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Björn Mattsson, the business unit president at Residential Development Europe at Skanska. Please come up. The stage is yours. And this is
Hello everyone. Nice to see you. Nice to be here. Yes. I will talk to you a little bit about what we do in Skanska. For us, innovation doesn't necessarily mean that we invent something new for the world, but we do something which is new for us and good for society and our customers. So this is one of our projects in Warsaw. This is in the location called Mokotów. It's called Yashminovi, and it's example of what we do, and it's an example of a resilient place. I will tell you something about grey water and mention something about other circular solutions which we are trying to implement. Maybe not necessarily disruptive, but anyhow something we are proud of and something which our customers value. But before I go there, a few words about Skanska. We are a pretty big company. We are active in different segments. We are building, we are developing homes, we are developing offices in different geographies. As you can see in the Nordics, pretty strong footprint, in Central Europe, in UK, and business in US. About 27,000 employees who together with customers and other partners use knowledge and foresight to shape what we do and the way people live today and tomorrow. If we boil in a bit on Central Europe, which is also where I'm active, we have a construction business in 5 countries: Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia. We have business in Budapest and in Bucharest, connected with our commercial development activities. And my field, my name is Björn. I am Swedish, as you can hear by my name. I'm living in Prague. I've been working with our Central European business for many years in the commercial development side, and now since 6 years with the residential development part of the business, which means that we have business more practically in Warsaw, Krakow, and Prague. Buying land, moving it to permits, building and selling homes to private customers. And we do around 600 to 700 sales every year together on those markets. Not a huge player, but we are profitable and we have a good brand recognition. And I need also support from you and others to be successful in my business. What is also driving us, as many other companies, are these ambitious carbon targets, and we are determined to be carbon neutral by 2045. It's a science-based target, so we have to measure all the time and sort of check what we are doing, how are we doing on the journey. We need to involve different kind of innovations, sometimes even inventions. And on the journey, I need also to reach 50% of the way by 2030. And 2030 is right around the corner, right? So we need to focus on energy efficiency, water efficiency, and use of sustainable materials. As you know, the energy mix in Central Europe is pretty dirty. So right now it's 100% focus, or at least 90%, on reducing energy. But we will soon manage that, maybe not change the energy mix, but at least to reduce the energy demand of our buildings. And we need to move more and more into sustainable materials. Society is also expecting us to focus on water, which I will tell you a little bit more about. As you know, the Sustainable Development Goals exist, and there is also goal number 6 saying that we have a responsibility to do what we can to reduce water consumption. We have a customer promise. My job is to attract and sell homes to people like you. Our customer promise is about deliver high quality, sustainable and innovative homes. And if we boil down a bit more that who are those customers who we are targeting, who we believe are ready to be the pioneers and potentially pay even a little bit extra for what we do. I want to introduce you to Agnieszka and Marek. This is an example, this is a personification of a typical target customer we have. Agnieszka and Marek, middle-class family, interested in active life, probably they have 1 or 2 kids, looking for a solution to have a good life, understanding the value of renewable energy and utilizing resilient public space. This is an important customer for us. Another one is the property investor. As you know, in Central Europe, we work with ownership apartments. So a big part of the buyers are people like Tony, who is in his 50s, have some money, interested in investing in a few apartments and putting them on the market for rent. And he would like to have something which is simple to manage, which is simple to explain to his tenants, and which is giving him a good return. These are those main customer groups. Of course, we sell to others as well, but these are our main customer groups. And with those customers in mind, we have worked with innovations, and here are some examples about what we have done. Starting from the photothermical roof panels 10 years ago, using this to heat water, moving in 2022 when the legislation changed also to work with photovoltaic, where we can even generate electricity and distribute it to the customers. The grey water recycling system, which I will mention a little bit more about soon, was introduced as a pilot in Czech Republic already in 2016, and we are now bringing it to Poland. Creating concrete not only from fresh stones, but also reusing some old concrete, crushing it, using it as aggregate, is smart technology, reducing the carbon footprint. And now we are also looking into how can we use wood, and we have just started sale on a building with a cross-laminated timber frame in Czechia. It will be very interesting to see how the market will receive such project. It's really something new. So working on a combination of reducing energy and working with sustainable materials to achieve our ambitious climate targets and to satisfy those main customer groups. So let me move into the theme, the grey water, by starting at looking at how do we use water in a household. So about 40% of the water is what we use when we wash ourselves, when we take the shower, take the bath. And what if we could use this, reuse this, and use it for flushing the toilets instead of using drinking water for flushing the toilets? So that's basically what the grey water system is about. This is a standard solution where about 200 liters of water per person is going down in the drain every day. And this is the grey water solution, where we basically collect a lot of this water from showers, bathtubs, bathroom and sinks. We clean it to a certain level where it's good enough to be used for flushing the toilets. And if this water is not enough, we can supply with the rainwater, or in the worst case, supply it with the drinking water. This is the grey water system. And to put it in some kind of perspective, in a normal building or in a building of around 150 apartments, average household of 3 people, we could save 10 million liters of water per year. It's a lot of water. It's water which is similar to 4 Olympic pools, to get it in some kind of comparable context. And I would say this is good for society. This is good for our customers. Water consumption is going down, water bills are going down, and you feel you're doing something good. And what is the next step? So the next step is that we should use another, I would say, not disruptive innovation, which is about heat recovery. And we are now running a pilot in Czechia, where we would try also to regenerate some of the energy in this grey water, and bring it back to preheat some of the tap water. And what is unique here is the combination of those systems. And I believe this will further support value creation for our customers, and Marek and Agnieszka will be satisfied. Yes, sir.
Is this unique for CEE, or are you using the same thing in Sweden?
We are not using this so much in Sweden, no.
Why not?
Good question. I will bring it back to my Swedish colleagues. Yeah.
Sweden was leading in this.
Yeah.
Environmental.
Yeah. I don't know if such systems with heat recovery exist in Sweden, actually. We have to check it. Okay, so here are some examples of the buildings which we are doing. Botanica in Prague to the right, 2016 project, still working, maintaining the system. Czertu-Werszek, where we also reused some of the grey water, not only for flushing toilets, but also for the washing machines, actually, and it's also working. Holm House, which is under construction now in Poland, which is the pilot, where we will introduce the grey water system. And Modransky Cukrovar in Prague, where we even take it further with the heat recovery. That's basically what I wanted to share today. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Björn, for a very insightful presentation. We will be touching a lot of different subjects today, and we'll be moving forward quite quickly. I signaled that Björn had 3 minutes left, so we're a bit ahead of schedule, which is nice. We have more time in the latter part where we're going to have the panel discussion. But I'm going to move forward pretty quickly to another interesting subject, a subject of artificial intelligence, something that is very well spoken about today at this moment. And our next speaker is an entrepreneur with over a decade of business development experience across both Europe and Asia. He's driven by his passion to redefine accessibility to beautifully designed and functional spaces. And in his pursuit of innovation for the real estate industry, he established a company called VISTAGER. I hope I pronounced that right. You can beat me afterwards if I don't. A technology development company dedicated to interior and exterior design industry. Its first product is a pioneering online tool for residential real estate agents. So please give a big round of applause for Dawid Tambor, the founder of VISTAGER. Please come up, stage is yours.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, my name is Dawid Tambor, and I'm a founder of VISTAGER, which is a startup that develops AI tools for real estate. It's in very early stage right now, as all of the AI tools, which is what I'm going to tell you about. As you can see, there's more brands, logos of AI-powered tools than the text itself. So please let me read it for you. My AI assistant has prepared wonderful presentations with all the AI-generated analytics, beautiful designs, tables, integrating well-thought text from my AI co-pilot, Jasper, or Zapier, my AI assistant, Jarvis, or AI secretary, Lindy, will send you a copy. The reply message will be written by my personal AI. Please note that your contact details will be automatically saved to a CRM by my AI agent. I wish it was all true. I have tested all of those tools and many more so far, but unfortunately we are not there yet. The tools do not provide the service that they promise to do. And this is because we are not there yet with the technology development and technology adoption. So instead of a presentation generated by AI, I'm going to show you only 2 pictures. The first picture is, yes, it is 100% generated with AI, and it was created 2 years ago by the prototype, the very first prototype of our application. And when I took it to interior designers, well-established, experienced interior designers, to show them, back then, they could hardly believe that it was done with AI. And the reason was, back then, the technology was not known. So how did it happen that AI is a hype right now? I'm gonna give you some numbers. about the author of this image. The author was tasked with a very simple task to test the application, the prototype. So he was a beta tester, quality assurance tester. He had no experience in interior design. He had no experience whatsoever in real estate industry. He had zero experience and zero education in the field, or any related field to real estate. He had zero understanding of IT or computer science. It took him only one attempt to generate that image, and the prototype that we given him to test was developed in only 1 month. Can you guess what that 2 stands for? 2 years, yes, that's a hint. 2 years old. Yes?
Not to jump the guns, but you mentioned that the tools currently are not there yet 2 years ago you were there. Is it because it's 2 large companies driving like the main initiatives? Or why are we not there yet?
We are not there yet because the technology is so early. The development of the technology is so early that simply there's no technology that can do more than what you have seen. Because 2 years old, the technology that we used to build that prototype was only 2 years old. So yes, but also the author of this image, of this interior design that I've shown you, the author of it is also 2 years old. Yes, that's my son, Darosław. He's 2 years old, and he was the one testing the application. He was tasked to do something to break it. So yes, technology is amazing. Technology can do magical things, but in order to make it a business case, it still needs a lot of development. That's what you said, exactly. The development of AI is very early at this stage. So in order to answer my question of the presentation, can AI replace real estate professionals? I think it can, but we're not there yet. And I would have to explain to you those 2 charts a little bit more than I have time for today. But we are at the chasm with adoption and at the peak of inflated expectations in the technology development cycle. So the hype that we are experiencing is because of the release of ChatGPT. So the release of it inflated the expectations of AI so high that everyone thinks that it's going to be there in a year, 2, or 5. But it's not true. The development of the technology is still going to take years in order to be business, adaptable to business. And then, if we have it, it's still going to take years to actually adapt the technology by the professionals. So, my daughter is going to join the real estate market in 10 years. And she's growing with the technology. She learns the tools. And by that time, she will know all the possibilities that the technology provides. All the tools, all the limitations of the technology. And then, I think, not the AI is going to replace the professionals on the market, but it's going to be her. Those young people who grow with the technology and learn it. Thank you very much. This is all for today. If you would like to ask more about the charts or the technology, let's connect and let's meet on the networking session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dawid. So I guess I'll still have a job for like 10 years?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. A very interesting perspective indeed about artificial intelligence. We are going to continue a bit on the data-driven path this afternoon. I was just about to say evening. I'm just a bit far ahead of myself, but still afternoon, of course. Our next speaker is a data enthusiast who enjoys solving complex problems related to business intelligence architecture. He has led numerous business intelligence implementations, focusing on the potential for developing the systems created within the projects. So he has been deeply involved with Power BI, also since its release and inception. And he also advocates adopting a data-driven business culture. Some very important person once said, data is everything. So with those words, here to introduce us to real use cases in business intelligence in construction and real estate is Mr. Mateusz Bazan, founder and CEO of EBIS. Welcome up.
So let's start. My name is Mateusz Bazan. As I've been introduced, I'm a founder of EBIS. We are a company based in Poland, specifically in Krakow. We specialize in business intelligence projects. Myself, I have consultancy background. Company exists more than 10 years. Prior to that, I travel all over the world to do business intelligence and data consulting. Many places, including Sweden. Back in time, like 15 years ago, I worked for ABB here in Västerås and nearby. Let's go through the agenda. So very often when I'm introducing my company, people ask me, what do you do? What actually business intelligence is? That's why I have first of all, the quick explanation. Why do you need business intelligence? What it is, business intelligence? Then I have a few slides for successful implementation our companies did for construction, then real estate, and some, yet again, about sustainability. Let's save the world. Real case from one of our customers. Then in theory there is Q&A session, but probably we won't have time for that. But of course I'm here with Rafał and Agnieszka, so we're happy to answer any questions after the presentation. Let's start with why do you need business intelligence part? So maybe some key story first, the evolution of business intelligence, so how it evolved, what it is. So the first wave, I remember, like years ago, it was corporate BI, IT to end users. So the companies had their team, they were able to produce the reports based on their data they had in many sources, different systems. It took days, weeks, months sometimes to answer the queries that were asked by the end users. So usually once the report were there, it was too late. The questions were already answered. There were new questions. That's why technology and market filled this gap with second wave of BI, which was analysts to end users. So technology was a bit better, so there were data warehousing technology appeared and new technologies that allowed actually analysts produce the database on the different data sources, and it shortened the way from the end users. It was a bit better. Some organization companies still are in the second wave when users don't touch it. But now, in the evolution of BI, we have third wave, which is strongly promoted by many data providers, including Microsoft, which we partner with, which is like everyone in the organization should have access to the report, should be able to access the data, slice and dice, go through, have the data organized in the way they want. So what are the actually end user needs, how it works? First of all, they need to access the data, so be able to get the data from various data sources like Dynamics, CRM, ERP, spreadsheets shared across the organization. Then we need to clean the data. Data is actually never pure and clean. So the tools nowadays must have possibility to clean the data and then mash them up, so get from various data system, identify business relations and technical relations. So it's important we're not only analyzing ERP system, we want to analyze our warehousing together with CRM, so we can predict our stacked base on the sales forecast, for example. That's why I need to mash up the data, then explore. In the past, and we still use spreadsheet, but now we have these different various tools. We are the company that implement Microsoft Power BI, now Fabric. By the way, now in Switzerland here, there is a huge FabCon Microsoft event, 3,000 people there. Everybody talking about the new era of business intelligence. I was there yesterday, 2 days ago. Then visualize the data. As we know, sometimes pictures worth more than 1,000 words. That's why it's very important that the data can be visualized and then share across the organization. The queries that were asked must be answered, and then actually the process starts again. It's never-ending story. It's not like you'd have the data in the organization and then that's it. Yeah, it's ongoing process. We must go around it. So the power of Power BI. This is product-based screen. What can we get with business intelligence from Microsoft or different data providers and different technology? You need to have quick access to the data from your laptop, mobile phone, tablet. To make a quick business decision, you must have the data reported actually almost in real life. We're not there in the batches, monthly batches. We need to have access to the data to be better than our competition. Collaborate and share the reports. This is just a slide about EBIS as a company. We're very widely certified, but I won't be elaborating on that. Some of our customers, so we're here on the actually construction industry, but we're working across different branches. But we have customers in constructions like, for example, Skanska, which we had today, Savills, Roger Boulevard. I'll be presenting some slide in the some case scenarios. We trained many companies, but I won't be also elaborating on that. So now let's go through for some real case examples of how we can use business intelligence. So this is the case of the company based in United Kingdom, Birmingham. So this is the construction company. They do foundations. Quite big company, but they had a lot of issues with planning and forecasting. So once we entered the company, they had like many spreadsheets, and to plan their production cycles, they had one Excel spreadsheet with like 80 sheets in it, and that's how they planned it. It took really days just to plan the stock, how long was it curving. This slide shows the forecast that we created based on the various parameters, what's demand gonna be, but this is the most important slide, and actually if I'll be able to show it here, I'll try. This also shows the possibility of integrating a report within the slide, but yeah, it won't work. Anyways, this shows that you can, you see, change the parameters, yards capacity, how long it curves, and different production parameters. So based on that, they were able to predict the stocks by weeks, how they should plan their production. And this one report with just slicing through their parameters and capacity and days curving, they actually replaced the spreadsheet with 60, 80 sheets, and it took like a week just to produce one slice here. So it improved the company planning a lot. This is the report that I was not able to show. This is yet another example of visualization. As you can see at the top, there's a lot of icons. So for this construction company from USA, we produced the reports for many areas, but I'm just showing this one as a quick showcase. They had really good data warehouse tool that allowed them to plan it there, but they really struggled not to have the visualization for some people, how the warehouse looks, and based on their requirement and how the warehouse looked, we created such a report that showed what's where, what's on the stock with the search functionality. So this is just to present it, that you can visualize your warehouse even if you don't have that functionality in your tool. This is yet another company. This is more about sustainability. I won't be talking more about it. But this report shows various KPIs in sustainability, like for example, severity rate, so how long the constructions were delayed according to the serious accidents. For real estates, a few quick cases here. This is yet another London-based company, quite big company called MAP. They do leases management in entire London, so they had also several IT tools, but never had it visualized. The board really wanted to have reports to show simple things like number of leases, service charges, top sectors that they had by sectors, but by directors. lease is expiring. This was the report that made a sensation within the company because they always struggled to remember what expires and when. And this report, together with mobile notification for the people responsible for extending leases, allowed the company to operate quicker. And this was the search report, they call it. Actually, we started with that, so it's a small one, but you see a small search window at the top. So this search report actually allowed to search the data from entire organization, all of the systems. So given with the proper permissions, users were able to actually get the data about everything they had reported. Yet another real estate company, Savills, London-based, yet again. Some of you might know it. This is inspection report. This one show maybe better what was it about. So this was about the inspections for the inspectors who were responsible for like electric, boiler inspection, all of the things that they need to handle with the leases and the properties that they managed. So also together with the mobile notification that inspection is due or overdue, they improved their work within this company. And I think I'm almost there if it comes to the time I've been given. So the last one today, also covering what was showed earlier. One of our customers really wanted to track the emissions of carbon footprint. So they had really good reports together with the predictions of what's currently reported if it comes to what's the usage and what's the emission and what's the forecast, what's the plan. In here it shows the distribution, which actually activities produce CO2, carbon footprint, and this is also per building site. If it's above, then it means it's good, otherwise it's bad. I think I'm just in time now. If there is any questions, I can answer now. Otherwise, I'm happy and I'm here to discuss any further BI, not only items. As I mentioned, I'm here together with Agnieszka and Rafał, so we are happy to have a discussions. Thank you.
When listening to your presentation, I asked myself if I can come up with a construction project that hasn't been delayed. I think it's a rhetorical question, so let's skip that. But we'll have another speaker who will present us with the perspective of integral waterproofing for underground concrete, which is both eco-friendly, time-saving, but also cost-effective. It's a very interesting subject. I'm Polish originally, but I've lived in Sweden for a very long time. Obviously, raised in Stockholm, and I always, when I compare business cultures, the Swedish one is one of, when you have meetings, you have panel discussions. If you've been to Almedalen, which is a political meeting in Sweden, everybody agrees with each other. It's really boring most of the time. But I had occasion once to participate or to organize a discussion on waterproofing of concrete. There were experts on stage, and the discussions were so heated. It was just very fun to watch. They almost fought each other on stage. So I'm really looking forward to your presentation. I want to give a big round of applause to Indrek Uusalu, the CEO of Primostar. Please welcome up.
So thank you for having me. My name is Indrek. I'm from Estonia, and I will speak a little bit about waterproofing. If Björn is from very big, huge company, then Primostar is only making waterproofing, and we are also in construction sector and helping to clients to have green waterproofing solutions. This is me, founder from Primostar. Today we are already Primostar Group AS, it's mean joint stock company. And a few days ago I was thinking what I will talk here, and I asked about me from AE, and there is answer about me that I have made significant impact in construction industry, and today we are only We are only market is Baltic states. We are working in Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. A little bit we have made some project in Ukraine and Turkey. Also, some profiles we have sell in Finland. So, Primostar is providing integral waterproofing solution for underground concrete structures. They are eco-friendly, time-saving, and cost-effective. Purpose of presentation to show you how we are do it, how we are, how to say, using 10 times less materials than classic membranes. About Primostar, it's founded in 2000. For the beginning, we are selling or bringing from Germany materials and selling them in Estonia. In 2009, we started to provide white tank waterproofing solutions. 2018, we opened Lithuania office. 2020, Latvia. 22 first project in Ukraine. In Turkey, 23. And in this year, we coming Primostar Group joint stock company. Our role and focus in real estate and construction sector is provide optimal waterproofing solutions to use less material and B2Go company for underground waterproofing. What is the white tank waterproofing? So in this case, we are using concrete structure as watertight barrier. We are adding special admix for the concrete. It gives self-healing ability and make the concrete watertight. All together with admix, we are also use water stops to watertight construction joints. Also, crack-inducing water stops to control concrete cracking. Because inside the concrete is always water. The water is dries out and concrete's volume goes less, and always concrete has cracks. So white tank method, it's mean we have special profiles in all kind of different joints, where it's connected slab with walls, walls with slabs or ceilings. And our special profile is the crack-inducing profile. It's patented in US and in Estonia. Innovate solution technologies. So how to use crack-inducing water stop? We have a special program which we can calculate how many profiles we need in concrete. So we give the measures how long will be one cast, how high it will be, how deep, and he will calculate all the profiles which we need to use. In the left pictures you can see the profiles is vertical, and they will make the controllable cracks. Because of this keyway shape, we can use this profile in walls, in slab, in ceilings, everywhere. It can be load-bearing structures. We can use it. So this kind of real life pictures, how we use them. in the construction sites. This is a big area. 3,000 square meters was that one. This is one ceiling where cars park on the ceiling, and under is also car parking, and we are using just those profiles and admix, and no waterproofing top of the concrete. Same with water tanks. We don't need any waterproofing inside or outside, just using special profiles, making the cracks. In real life, the cracks after concreting will show as in these pictures. So it's nice, it's inside the concrete, and they are watertight. Mostly, this is like one project size. You can see in the walls. We use crack inducers in the slab, between the slab and wall connection, special watertight joints, and all the concrete has this crystalline waterproofing admix. How does white tank solutions different with traditional waterproofing methods? Traditional method is some kind of bituminous material. It's which is using top of the concrete to make concrete watertight. In our solutions, there is no waterproofing and not needed. If we have if we compare the different kind of solutions, we can see that black tank it means roll membranes materials. It's 2 layers of 3 millimeters SPS material. If you are using, you can get the net weight approximately 10 kilos. If it's very common, I know in Finland to use 2 or 3 layers of this kind of materials. In Estonia, before this my solution, we mostly used this second option, where it was self-adhesive waterproofings around concrete. In this case, we are using more than 2 kilos per 1 square meters, and with our solutions, we can use less than 0.5 kilos for materials to make watertight 1 square meter of construction or structures. I have patented it, this profile. Its name is crack inducer, and I got the patent in the United States the last year, and like 10 days ago in Estonia. That's why everybody knows Estonians is slow, so they give it the patent after US gave us a patent. It's still pending in EU and in Turkey and in somewhere Ukraine and somewhere else. References. This is Bonava. I think it's well known in here also. This company is building in Estonia also apartment buildings, and they also mostly use Finnish solutions like those layers of membranes. And with this project, it was for Bonava first project where they used our solution, and they was extremely happy after it. So the green lines is cracking users, the red lines between slabs are stop-end profiles, and this is how it will be seen in the project size. It's very, very easy, just need to little bit think and add the profiles, and they will make the stride contract cracks through the structure. With the same, I think it's well known in here. They use same solution in their Rigas project. It's Terbeta Street 72. It was with -1 floor underground parking area. Also, they use all those our systems. So how in the beginning in those both projects was in drawings classic membranes, but we just changed them. Actually, there is nothing much need to change. Need to remove classic membrane and just use the profiles in all kind of different joints. And we can get 10 times greener solutions. Feedback from Latvia. With the Latvia, they very like it. It was very easy to handle and install. And the best part that there was no pasting or plastering or anything. Just very, very quick work. If we are comparing with classic membranes, we can need for 1,000 square meters like 5 guys to install some kind of materials, and it can take weeks. So with those kind of profiles, 1,000 square meters can be hours. Environmental impact, economic impact. So it's extremely green. It's our Primostar passion also to not use materials just like that, to not use over. We can use as less we can, or we like to use as less we can. So if we are changing all those materials, we have a save in Baltic states 6.5 million kilograms of waterproofing materials. So environmental sustainability aspects is that trucks doesn't drive so much, not need to mining different kind of materials and so on, and the warehouse space can be less. Don't need so much space. Also EPD, it's environmental product declaration, so it's very important at the moment and will be more and more important every day. So our materials all have those EPDs, and as I know at the moment, or this presentation was made a little bit maybe 1 month ago, there was only 2 companies who have this kind of EPD for those metal water stops. And we also have them. Economic advantages, 10 times less materials, 10 times less labor, 10 times less transportation, and approximately 10 times quicker installation time. Main game points. there is way to big scale underground waterproofing. You can do it faster, more cost effectively, and greener. So approximately, if you are using 1 kilo this white tank method, we can save up 9 kilo of other waterproofing materials. Underground waterproofing can be often overlooked, so it's added too much waterproofing. We can make it less to use less material. No, that's it. Good. Thank you.
I would never have guessed that you're from Estonia. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is the founder of a company that assists architectural firms, property owners, hardware manufacturers, but also furniture producers in visualizing their products and artworks in a more realistic way using very advanced software. That is the most advanced software is available on the market. And from what I hear, our next speaker is also a podcast star. So he co-hosts 2 of the podcasts. So if you want to find out more, you of course can listen to them. But here to tell us about the future of visualization and why the future is now is Ekstrand, the CEO of Novara Studio.
So what I'm going to do today for all of you is to showcase our visualization tool for real-time rendering. And before I actually start the video that I'm going to have that goes through the entire system in the background, I thought that I might as well tell you a bit about our company. We're quite new. We were founded 2 years ago in a small town called Jönköping in the almost dead center part of Sweden, in the middle of every single forest cutting industry plantation ever, basically in Sweden. And I grew up loving gaming, fighting dragons, fighting bosses. And then when I got a bit older, I fell in love in CAD and using different softwares to actually build something that I could walk through. And when I searched the market, I saw a gap in the fact that I couldn't really play the same game that I'd played before when I was younger. So what we did was that we made an exterior version and an interior version. They're 2 separate projects, but here you can see slightly that we actually use surrounding infrastructure we get from the architects. Basically everything you can fit in BIM we can implement. We can control the sun, showcasing just how the sun rays fall on each single unit and apartment. And we can also zoom out from a bigger perspective and showcase surrounding infrastructure, but also different types of stores, schools, the distance between different parts, and also the buses and trains, the schedules, so you can showcase more than just the property. You can showcase everything that the end consumer actually buys, which is the spot, the location, and the ease to transportation around a specific city. And you can either press, as it does here, different parts in the system, and it will zoom over there, or you have an interface as well down in the bottom where you can press different sections, so we can sort of sort everything up based on if it's a shopping mall, a dining station, or a gas station. And the same goes for amenities on the actual property itself, so you can showcase the benefits you get from buying this type of real estate. For example, a nice parking spot that is combined and in relation to the actual property, a gym, the fact that you have elevators to each and every floor, but as well if you have a bike room that you can put stuff in. So basically giving the end buyer every piece of information they could get. And what we needed to implement as well as our competitors already have, is a price calculator, which is fully connectable to Excel or spreadsheet or your CRM system if it has an API, just like an AI system would connect to it. And here we can customize if you want to showcase the amount of bedrooms the property has, and it scales off and on depending on what you place in these variables. And you can always, again, control the sunlight and see the changes from every single angle of the property and the surrounding infrastructure. And this entire presentation of the exterior, and what you will see in just a minute, the interior, was screen recorded on a computer that was about $350. So you don't need a specific type of hardware to be able to use this, because we place all the heaviness on our servers. So you can use this on your tablet, you can use this on your phone, or your really, really old computer that you hate. Regardless of the hardware, as long as you have a strong Wi-Fi connection, this will be available. And this can be implemented to every single, as far as we've seen as a startup, website as an iframe. And here you start to see the interior when you actually have selected a specific apartment. And you just use your mouse and you use WASD on the keyboard, or your thumbs if you're using a tablet or phone. You can navigate every single angle, every single perspective. And here is where we actually saw the most potential in the selling and marketing aspect. We can place presets together with interior designers and architects. We can showcase different variations of the interior. So for this example, you can go close, you can zoom in on the details of each fabric, and you can also switch out to maybe some of the furnitures or microwaves or stoves that you have a contract with as a developer, for example, HTA Kitchen or IKEA. Everyone that has a CAD file can be implemented. And the same goes as well for the kitchen. It swaps out the entire base mesh, and you can just walk freely around. There's no lag, there's no frame drop, as long as, again, you have a strong Wi-Fi connection, or in some cases even 5G is sufficient. And we have an edit mode as well, where you can press different surfaces inside the building, or different, again, microwaves as an example, or a sofa or couch, and you can switch out the color or type directly without having to wait for it to load and load and load. And we developed this version because we saw the fact that real estate agents today, pre-construction, has a bit of a hard time selling and pitching and argumenting towards the fact that you should buy the apartment or house or building. And this gives them a tool to go to market and say, here you can actually see the entire surrounding infrastructure. You can see how the sun affects each and every apartment. You can configure your own apartment, and they can even get a kickback or shared revenue with the suppliers of these different properties, such as kitchenware or furniture. So helping the developer to sell pre-production with more information and with a bigger toolbox of arguments. Because again, just as a video game, I want to win in fighting the beast and dragon together with the developer and real estate agent. And a thing we added as well is that you obviously, as in the last example, here you can see the sun and how it interacts with each and every furniture along the way. And we can geographically position the apartment so the sun will move the exact same way in relation to reality. And you can choose, depending on season, month, or even day or hour, what you want to see. For example, I bought my first apartment about 2 years ago, and I had no clue whatsoever how the sun would affect my apartment. And now I realize that I get sun about 3 hours a day. So a bit tough luck for me. But another thing we also added on the request of our clients that we got recently is the floor plan. So we can have predetermined camera angles that focuses on different points and parts of the property. And this can be scaled up towards if you have a house that's 4 floors, or if you want to showcase a larger building, you don't want to walk around everywhere. And after this, you'll also see that, again, everything is configuratable and customizable. The only real limit we have in terms of size is actually 2 million square meters of property. That's where my servers crash. But I haven't seen that big building in my life yet, and maybe we'll see if someone has the capital to actually build that size one day. And another good feature is that you can actually take screenshots and rendered images in this quality whenever you want to, without a cost. It will save either on your tablet, phone, or laptop. And again, just finishing off with showing you how the light bounces in relation to trees, surrounding infrastructure, and the actual apartments, different perspectives as well. Yes, hi sir.
So, you basically used a gaming engine.
And then developed your own like skins and so forth. So how many employees do you have?
We are currently at the size of, let's see, we have 4 people in Sweden, and then we are getting up to 3 people plus that's based in Sri Lanka, because they are actually on the forefront on gaming development, because most companies actually buy their skill sets.
But you have Polish.
We do not
like
have
Witcher.
Polish.
Witcher.
Yeah, that's a good game, Witcher. I cried when they stopped doing it on Netflix. Okay. They switched out the main character. But yes, and the other question. Yes, and that's a great question, because that opens up the door for existing real estate as well. So it's possible. With the LiDAR systems we have today and the technologies we have, I've actually even tried using only my iPhone with a built-in LiDAR scanner. And it takes me about, I would say, 5 minutes to do this room in terms of size, and I get the exact type of CAD file my system needs, which is one of the bigger types of files that are in different types of CAD systems. So OBJ, FBX, DVG, and 3ds Max. Yes?
I have a question for you. How is the revenue business model on this? Because who is paying? Is it actually you're trying to build the project, for instance, Skanska, or someone is paying for, or you do collaborate and try to have like IKEA and other companies to join in? Because the cost, I would presume, is quite high per sale of square meter to for a buyer of a apartment itself.
Our pricing structure today is obviously not finalized because we're in a startup session, but as we do for our clients right now, they have an allocated marketing budget. To give you one figure that I've gotten from one of our clients is 50 apartments. The marketing budget is about $60,000, and we match that quite close actually. We can even go under that depending on what you actually want to build. And if you look at the fact that you can take potentially endless amount of rendered images, you have your marketing material. This can be published on your main website. You can have a version for developers to keep internal communication along the project development phase. And then you can have a version where only the real estate agents and potential buyer gets access. So the entire user interface that you saw is fully customizable towards your design of your website and or your company's main design aspect, but also fonts and such things. So in terms of price, we are not actually more expensive because we're trying to solve 2 problems at once with the same budget.
Meaning that the starting point is $60K US.
If you want to buy today and you would buy 50, I would ask you first of all, what do you want to showcase? And then I would say yes. That's an approximate figure, but yes. Yes.
Excuse me, somebody give you data. For example, architecture give you 2D CAD files, or can give you point clouds from phone or laser scans. But perhaps somebody in the house in your company preparing special model. Your solution, it is ready to import BIM models because all real estate is going on the site.
Yes, if I understand the question correctly, we can implement, if you look at some of the biggest CAD softwares that works now, AutoCAD, 3ds Max, you have Autodesk as well when it becomes more a product thing, we can implement those. We take FBX, OBJ, we can reformat different files as well to suit our system. So the flexibility in that aspect is actually one of the biggest main arguments for actually using us. We can adapt and tailor our software towards your system that you use, instead of you having to adapt and educate and spend time and money to reallocate your resources to fit us. We want to make your life easier. So we stand for the flexibility, and hopefully you get us some nice CAD files. Any more questions? No? Great. Oh, yeah.
Program, or I paid for service?
You pay for program and service for about the two first developments or buildings, because then we create your user face or user interface. And when that is done, you pay for the product. So then it's basically only you sending CAD files to us. Our system, which will be optimized with AI after New Year's, fingers crossed, will automate the implementation as well. So we are not at a licensing stage yet. But right now you're paying for both, but eventually we will even get a bit cheaper along the line. Due to the increase in efficiency.
Thank you to Alexander, because we're running a bit short on time. Thank you very much for your lovely presentation. I really wish the IKEA kitchen planner would work like that. It will save me a lot of arguments with my wife, at least. We have one more speaker left. As I mentioned on the first note, it's a very rainy day in Stockholm. We have a lot of people joining us online from different parts of the world, but it's really raining cats and dogs today. So here to instill a bit of sun on this rainy day is Mr. Lech Kaniuk, the CEO of SunRoof. Please, the stage is yours.
So, I will showcase you about SunRoof, but I want to start with kind of contextualizing also where we stand a little bit in terms of Europe, real estate, and climate. So 75%, 165 million real estates in the European Union are old. And the renovation rate, especially deep renovation, is not fast enough to actually meet a lot of the requirements that we need. And the European Energy Agency did research, and real estate is consuming 40% of the energy, and that is equivalent to 35% of the CO2 emissions. And obviously all of this is something that has to improve. And a few other things that I wanted to share with you is a few of the trends and things that are happening that impacts and will impact a lot in the real estate industry. So one thing is the whole electrification, and there are EVs, and obviously that has also actually impacts on real estate. But also electrification in terms of just the things like adding heat pumps as a heat source or energy source for heat and cooling source for different types of buildings. Then you have the energy prices, and in many countries they are capped. So Poland is also an example of capping energy prices, and that's obviously shouldn't be sustainable over a long time, and they are releasing a little bit more for commercial, less for private, but it has an impact. At the same time, especially solar is an energy source that is the absolutely the cheapest you can get. And you can discuss obviously on how much coal industry is subsidized in different ways and direct or indirect ways, but basically there's basically no cheaper source. So there are alternatives, and positive climate, energy sources are really viable because they are both good for the environment and cheaper. We mentioned the aging. Then we have the topic relevant for me in terms of PV and photovoltaic, that the aesthetics are not really so good. But then you have a few things that Europe is trying to do. So Repower Europe is an initiative that was actually, I think, initiated when Russia invaded Ukraine, and it was stated by the European Commission that Europe has to become energy independent from Russia, so no oil, no gas, no nothing. And if you combine that with Green Deal, which has targets that we have to increase the amount of renewable energy, and now just recently this target was bumped up from 30% to 42.5% because recent data about climate change and the rise of the temperatures and so on are actually happening much faster than previously thought and prognosed. So the target for renewable energy is also increased. Then you have within this, you have the European Fit for 55, which is done to decrease the emissions that are done in different industries. And construction industry is a quite big emitter of CO2. And it's both in terms of when you actually build the whole real estate, but also then when it is operating. So to do that, there are a few things. So within Repower Europe, there is actually something called the Solar Roof Initiative. And from January 2027, starting with commercial buildings and buildings owned by the state, they will have to have solar roofs when you build it. This will come then into all down to residential. So new houses will also have to be a solar roof. And this is actually already happening. So some countries are adopting these things much faster. Germany is one example where we have in a couple of Bundesland, when you build a new house, you have to have a solar roof. And this is for new constructions, but over the next couple of years, there will also be transition into renovation. So even if you have already an old building, but you need to renovate the roof, you will also have to have a solar roof. And European Union also have something called the renovation wave, where they actually say that the renovation rate is too slow. And all of this has to do with the fact that a lot of real estate has a poor energy performance. And there's actually one very simple way to improve the performance. You don't have to do a lot of deep renovation everywhere. And that's actually to build a solar roof, for example. But we don't do any kind of type of solar on top because we think we can do it much better than what was old. So to give you really a back-to-back example, you have the old, you first build a roof, and then you put a mounting system on it and mount that on the roof, and then you put the PV on top of the roof. And we do something that is building integrated. And this is an example. So this is, I think, the closest example, one of the closest example I have today from where we are. And you can really see that when we are building our solar roofs, we can really make a beautiful solution out of this. And our roof is both the protective shell of the building and the power plant. So you don't have to build first the roof and then put the mounting system and everything. And that has a lot of benefits. And I think one thing that all of our customers are drawn to in the first place is the aesthetics. And here is another example. And on the picture here, you can see that even if the house have ladders or chimneys and other things, that this is really possible to do. On this example, I really challenge you to try to see where does the solar end, what is the active part that produces energy and what is not. because most of the roof is actually active, but not 100%. And so even if you have corners and other things standing on the ground, it can be really difficult to differentiate what actually is solar and what's not. So we can cope with angles and we can cope with stuff coming through the roof, but you can also tailor-make. And in this picture, you have an example. This is a house in Poland, and there was a request not to maximize the power production, but actually customize the power production for the needs of this customer. So this is why you can see that the slightly darker part is the active, and the rest is non-active. In especially Poland, where we've done this in many places as well, we call something half roof. So we can do also just half or one side of the house is in active, the other part is a traditional roof, and we can do that in whatever kind of design the customer wants. And sometimes this has been due to budget restraints, for example, but it could also be that the one side is the north side, the customer don't want to build it there, or you have a lot of shading that comes there. But building a building integrated roof that doesn't use all of that material, it's really, really beneficial for older buildings, and especially if you have these farmhouses, for example, or larger industrial buildings, because they are not built to have a very heavy solar panel installation on top. And the weight constraint can be quite large. So if we compare a traditional ceramic tile roof with a traditional PV panels on top, we are 30 kilograms lighter than this traditional solution, which is obviously a lot more beneficial for these older types of buildings. I wanted to show you also a little bit of before and after pictures. So here, the only thing that happened was the roof renovation, and that they changed to a sunroof. We improved the weather as well, yes. You have to pay a little bit extra, but weather comes as well. And what I want to do, there has now come out, there've been 2 studies in Sweden that has shown that if you have a house and you put on a PV installation on top, on average, the value of your house increases with the equivalent amount what you invested in the solar. I have a thesis, and I want to check this, that actually we will increase more than you do when you invest in a sunroof. I will show another case. So before I show the pictures, there was one investor that bought a house, and he did only 2 things. He only repainted the exterior and renovated the roof, which was well needed, and he increased the value quite a lot. I think you can see that for yourself. So. And here's another example of really renovating a roof, and that you really get an uplift of the weather and the property. Another thing which is quite interesting is that really these tile roofs, and especially if you are on the west coast or in areas where you have either more pollution or humidity, you might actually get a lot of maintenance on your ceramic roof with things growing on it and getting dirty and not really nice. But with a glass surface, it's much more durable and less maintenance for that. This is an example of a retrofit in Poland. I really like this project because they really wanted to keep the patina on the house, but then getting the roof of the future. Other possibilities are flat roofs. This comes from time to time, and we can also solve that. Now, on the left side, you can see a roof that is under construction. So I didn't have the final picture, but also showcasing kind of flat roofs that are possible. We do not only residential, but we also do larger roofs, and there's an example on from the west coast. And in the background, you can actually see the old technology that is used with the traditional PV panels, and that's also something that you can really see that when you build top mount PV, Another thing that you need to do is to leave some space for wind loads. So you have quite some loss of area that you actually use for the modules. And if you compare with our roof, in this case, we've maximized the space for energy production. And we actually have had a couple of customers, and my favorite customer was a pig farmer in Sweden that bought our roof. And it was not because of the aesthetics, but he bought it because we could fit more power in his roof. It was not electric pigs, but the farm was using a lot of electricity, so that was what he wanted to do. And on this is a library in Poland, and we didn't only do the roof, but they actually wanted to have a little bit of a showcasing of technology, so we did a part of the facade. And another facade, and this is a house in Łódź in Poland as well, a residential building, and they said we can't do PV on top, but we have one side we can use for PV, and so we did a building integrated facade for them as well. Then we have started to work a lot more with architects and being in the projects before, and we got a few criterias with this house. So one criteria was that to get subsidy, the installation cannot be more than 10 kilowatt peaks. So it has to be limited. The other was that it has to mimic the colors of the facade. And the third is that after they have received the subsidies, in the future, if they increase the energy usage, for example, by buying an electrical vehicle. Side note, we did a survey amongst our customers, and 100% of our customers have or will have within 5 years an electrical vehicle. So to be able to upgrade this roof with more power in the future, we did dummy plates, so it's only glass, and as soon as they want to increase, we can take out the dummy and install more solar active modules in this roof. But here it is mimicking the colors, but yes, only the right side, the darker side, is the active part. So what if they would like to have the red also active? It's possible. And not only red, but we can do other colors. And this is another project with a real estate developer that it did 8 units in naked concrete, and they said, love your roofs, but they cannot be gray. They cannot be black. You have to do them gray. So we did. And here are moon gray solar roofs. When you do a custom color like this, so especially this color, we drop in efficiency. So you miss out of part of the wavelengths. So you have approximately 18% of drop in efficiency, and then you also have a little bit higher price, so approximately 20% due to the customization. But it's definitely possible to customize with the color. And wanted to also show another really cool project we did commercial. So this is a McDonald's restaurant, and they are unable to do any kind of traditional PV on top of their restaurants because they have so much technical appliance on top of the roof, so it's basically impossible. And they had quite a lot of different things that they needed to follow, and we were able to do it with this special solution for McDonald's. I think it was in Money.pl that they wrote that this is the first McDonald's in the world with such a roof. So we were very proud of that. We were in a test phase for 6 months, and after this test phase, they were super happy, and we are going to roll out more units to broaden the test, and hopefully will be approved by McDonald's as a provider. So. And the other interesting thing with this McDonald's restaurant is that when it's peak hour and peak solar, they also have a peak with lunch and frying fries. So they have consumed 100% of the energy used here. The payback time is basically 4 years for McDonald's. And last but not least, other types of applications are carports. So we did for Volvo Polestar a showroom. It was a showroom in Mjölby. And also for Solaris in Sweden. I'm very proud of that. So far, more than 5,000 tons per year are offset by our roofs. Thank you a lot for attention.
Thank you to all the speakers today. It has been a very informative day, at least for me. We've been looking through all different aspects of these two industries that are so complex. We've seen why the industry has to change. We'll touch upon those things and try to summarize them in the panel discussion that will follow in a couple of minutes. You will, as I said, you should definitely stick around because we have 6 more experts, completely new ones, so you haven't seen them yet today. That would talk about the industry and the future of industry. So it will be a very interesting discussion. But before we do that, we will take a 5-minute break. So please breathe, have some coffee. You that are not here, you are missing out some wonderful cakes. So I have to say to all you, those that are joining us online that you have to come here next time to eat the wonderful cakes that Himmelska has prepared for us. But see you in about 5 minutes. Thank you very much. So, welcome to the second part of today's webinar and seminar for those of you who are in attendance. We have been listening to a lot of interesting presentations from different fields that are touching upon the real estate and construction industry. Those are industries that are huge. I actually prepared some notes about how big they are. So if you look at the Polish construction market, the total turnover for last year, that is 2023, was 83 billion euros, which is actually more than 10% of the Polish GDP, which is a lot of money. When it comes to Sweden, the Swedish market is a bit smaller. If you look over a period from 1980 until 2023, it averages on 8 to 9% of the GDP. But last year it was still quite a lot of money there as well. I think it was about 62 billion euros. I represent the Stockholm Business Region, which is the investment promotion agency for the city of Stockholm. And one thing that we do, besides sitting in panels like these and moderating things, is that we prepare reports. And we do have a new report that showcases the projects in the Stockholm region. The Stockholm region, in our understanding, is quite big, but still. It's a geographically closed area, and all the projects in the Stockholm region will reach 115 billion euros in investment until 2040. So that's a lot of money. Again, on the other hand, we have an interesting time with both the climate crisis, the new regulations brought upon from the EU. We saw the examples from the EU Green Deal that Lech talked about, and we also have a building. Well, in this real estate industry, where buildings account for about 40% of the carbon footprint, for example, of Sweden. So this is a clear and it's a big issue that we have to solve, and that's the theme of the panel today. Both those issues: how can we enact disruptive and innovative technologies in the real estate and construction market, but also try to have an outlook for the future. What will the industry look like in 5 and 10 years? But first of all, I would like to start with you in the panel presenting yourselves and giving us a short 30-second pitch on how your company or organizations, because we have representatives from both, can help shape the trends of the construction and real estate industry in those 5 to 10 years. So, Elin, please go ahead.
I am Ellen Allison. I am Chief Commercial Officer for Myrsboven, hard to pronounce. If you're not a Swede. What we do, we are an AI company focused on commercial real estate and energy optimization. So what our AI does is that it optimizes energy in buildings, so heating, cooling and ventilation. But not only how much the building is consuming, but also when it's consuming. So we create buildings, we make them thermal batteries, and then you can also allow for the volatility in the energy prices, which we have seen now since 2022, and we will see a lot going forward as well.
Thank you very much. Ralph, your turn.
My turn. I represent PlayMotion, my own company, and we work with strategy and communication for corporates. Very often we are like a wingman for many business leaders. And among other things we have done over the past years is working with construction companies, helping them in tendering process, both acting as a natural facilitator, for instance in joint ventures between different countries, corporate cultures or nations, which can be difficult, or ensuring that we really pay focus on the soft skills, soft aspects in a request for proposal. So ensuring that the companies do meet all the aspects in their proposal at the final end.
Thank you very much. And Ott?
Hello, my name is Ott, and I'm the founder of a company called Nefi. I, together with some cooperation partners, help foreign contractors with their own workforce to do projects in Sweden. I noticed that there are many problems for foreign contractors, so we help with tax and legal issues, collective bargaining agreements, but also facilitate material suppliers and lodgings and projects, so the foreign contractors have an easier time entering the market and do things correctly.
Good afternoon, my name is Jan. I'm the president of Polish Federation of Construction Industry Employers. We are the biggest, actually, chamber of construction companies in Poland. We represent the companies that offers around 70 or covers around 70% of the general contracting services in Poland, and we try to act as a bridge between the stakeholders, the construction companies and the government in order to shape regulations and in order to facilitate the knowledge transfer between the companies, between the market, the key players and the regulator. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lukas Kacprzak. I represent land surveying geodesy company PKIG from Warsaw, from Poland. We have 20 years experience with modern geodesy, but 10 years ago we are focused on the laser scans, 3D models, inventory documentation and area measurements. From 10 years we are preparing project on the all Europe. Thank you.
Lars, last but not least.
Hello, Hello, my name is Lars Blomqvist and I'm the CEO of Flexifiler. And I'm here to present my upcoming service, which is a dating app.
Okay.
Maybe you think I'm attending the wrong seminar now, but I'm not. It's a matchmaking tool for companies in the construction industry.
Thank you very much. The first question, I think, when you look at the future, you probably have to set the tone and understand where exactly are we at now. And the first question is for you, Jan. You represent the vast majority of Polish companies, of course, so there's no better person to ask but you. How does the Polish construction industry look like now? And also, thinking about the exchange of businesses between the two countries, are there things that Polish companies can bring to the table in Sweden, and what could we learn from each other?
Okay. May I ask for the microphone for a little moment?
Okay, thank you for this question, Konrad. Actually, the Polish construction market is one of the biggest in European Union. It's the fifth construction market. I would say we enjoyed in the last 10 years the continuous growth of the market, reaching the value, as you said at the very beginning, almost 1,000 billion Swedish crowns annually. However, this year is more tricky for the construction companies. We see some decrease of the markets, let's say around 7%. The average number we estimate. However, this is not. I would say it is not too difficult for the total market. This market is dependent, was and is still dependent in most part of the public investments. Around 65% of the market is financed from public resources, and 35% is financed from or by private investors. And this is something that we need to shift in coming years. First of all, because we will see the end of this huge EU financing for public projects, and secondly, that the typical ratio between public and private money in Western European construction markets is completely, let's say, shifted comparing to Polish, meaning that 30 to 40% is the public money and 60 is private. This is a huge challenge to be well prepared to this shift in order to avoid the huge difference between the top of the market and the downside of the market, which was typical for the Polish construction market when we face all this accumulation of too many investments in short time, and then the steam decrease of the market, and then the huge expectation of the construction companies for the new investment that are to come, but they are not coming in the moment the companies are prepared from the perspective of labor forces and of supply of material for the construction. And when we stick to the question what we can exchange between the markets, I would say that Polish companies, and this is our biggest advantage, are very well organized on site. We, of course, as in many construction processes, we face the problem of collecting the data and of data processing during the preparation and forecasting of the project. But when we are, as the construction companies, we are at the site, we are very well prepared, and our key investments projects are delivered on time, in very restrictive budget, and with limited labor forces. So I would say this is one of the key lessons we can present and learn in Sweden. But from Swedish market, Polish companies can take advantage of more technical and technological approach and more green way of preparing investments and performing these tasks on site. I mean, this eco-friendly approach should be adopted in broader terms of on Polish construction industry. I would say in general.
Sweden, we also have a vast majority of investments being public ones. So that's also something that experienced Polish companies could probably adjust very quickly to.
Yes, but I would, when we compare the Polish and Swedish market, we see that the most part of investments in Poland are the infrastructure, transportation infrastructure investments, while in Sweden there are rather buildings, housing, and that kind of public investments. In Poland, we are mostly focused on infrastructure. Transportation and then energy infrastructure.
We'll take questions from the public after we finish the panel. Switching a bit of a perspective, I mentioned the reports that we do by Stockholm Business Region. I always say that we do them, but we don't do them, we just order them, just to be clear. But one of the industries that I work with very heavily is PropTech. And Ellen, you represent Myrsboven. You have a bit of a different perspective because you're a Swedish company that enters Poland now. But I would like to ask you to maybe describe the situation on the Swedish PropTech market just in general, broad terms. What do you expect of your expansion to Poland? And also, since you're a company that probably is the closest to become a scale-up, we talked before, you said you're still a startup, but actually checked, and you're actually a scale-up now, in our data at least, so that's good for you. How do you become a scale-up? How do you scale up your business?
I mean, that's the tricky question, right?
Yeah.
If I knew that, I'd be a millionaire already. I mean, Myrsboven, we've been going since 2017. And of course, energy in buildings has been a problem, I mean, forever, something that you solved manually. And now digitization is kind of taking its course. And the real estate market is one of the last industries to actually face this. And now it's hurting the market quite a lot. In terms of what needs to change, and I think, I mean, yes, we're expanding, and we see Poland as a super interesting market for us. But of course, our home turf is Sweden, and here we have currently probably 85% of our customers still are Swedish real estate. So I would say that the Swedish PropTech market is, the whole industry right now is struggling. It's been struggling for a couple of years in terms of where the interest is, and I think everybody in this room is quite familiar with the pace the market is going in right now. And of course, investments then are always tough. I think that it will happen kind of a consolidation of PropTech companies. We, of course, we sell a saving, which saves us in many ways. But we also have how the real estate market is actually working, where everything is traditionally very, very regional. So basically, you do everything building by building. And that is the opposite from what digitization is doing. If you have digitization, you go from the top and you do everything the same. You do scale. And we're now kind of pulling this market towards the scale, but there's still layers of data structure, of platforms that are currently still missing. And of course, our solution is one of them that you can apply to older buildings. That's kind of what we do. We try and focus on retrofitting because we go where we get the most energy savings. But that is the big hurdle, I would say. We have spent probably the 3 first years of what we did was integrating to steering systems in the building. They are different. And to be clever in terms of how you use technology to adapt to all those different old hardwares that sit at the basement of each building. That's why I think also we have a good chance of making it all the way, because we have done all the hard work in terms of getting to somewhere that can be applicable over lots and lots of buildings, because from a technical perspective, buildings look different. And everybody doing this today with software or whatever will face those problems. And that's the case in Sweden as well. We're very, very, very far ahead in terms of building in a sustainable way, in terms of, doing efforts in our buildings to make them sustainable. We have a very low energy consumption in Sweden per building, if you look on average. But we still struggle with the technical platforms in buildings. We sell and we buy buildings from one another. The real estate owners do this, and when they buy a building, they still have to do everything again, so to speak. So that's of course something that is addressed by the industry right now, and we see lots of progress. And when this big wheel is starting to turn, then it will be massive impact.
Thank you very much. And I think, Łukasz, you represent the Polish side of the industry, kind of. I would really like to ask you what the strengths of Polish companies are. Can you see, how can the industry adapt? Is there something that we can use in the intermittent, trade between the countries?
Okay, Konrad, but one moment, I want to...
Please comment first.
Yes, say something about ZRA. On the first, I see on my client, when I meet with them, by half of year, I hear that it's very hot subject in Poland, because Poland starting to calculate carbon footprint, starting to thinking about ESG, and our market started to calculation about energy, about reduce of some resources. That's why we are at this moment open of this kind of technology and confirm that it is very hot subject. In Poland, in my opinion, we are running from many years to West Europe, because we want to grow, we won't be the same market as another part of the Europe. That's why, in my opinion, in Poland, real estate market, construction market, we are very flexible, very easy implementation new technologies. And we can thinking about two sides. On the first, we have companies IT. For example, BIM, it is start to be normal technology in construction in Poland, and a lot of company preparing some special software, for example, to calculation carbon or manage the construction process on the objects. On the other side, we have a modern manufacture. For example, SunRoof, what we can hear all this speech today, or for example, module buildings. My client in Poland says me that calculate the cost of construction, and they order 200 bathrooms, full completely ready, and it will be rebuilt in construction, because it is cheaper than find two good workers to preparing on the shell and core standard.
I think you touch upon a very important thing. When we prepared both reports that I mentioned, one of the key things that actually runs through as a theme is the lack of competence and lack of skill. And that is something that is very true, both in Sweden and in Poland. I know the discussions when I went to the Polish Construction Congress, and that was one of the discussions besides the climate declaration of buildings that we also touched upon. But looking back to the report that we did, in order for those 115 billion euros investments to be made in the Stockholm region, we need 40,000 new workers. So the question is, where can we get them, and how can we help facilitating companies and helping them find both, sub-suppliers but also skilled, competence workers? I know, Lars, that you have a proposal for a solution, the dating app that you were talking about before.
Dating app. Yes, I'm running my electric company now for 20 years, and I've been in the industry for 35 years now. I'm getting old. And I notice how difficult it is to find staff temporary, quickly, and with the right skills. This is a problem throughout the whole industry, I think. And we at FlexiFinder have a solution for that. We're going to help a lot of companies.
And the solution itself kind of closes the gap, right, between companies that are seeking competence and those people that are looking for it. Can you tell us a bit more about how it works and how the setup is?
The solution is very simple. It works just like a dating app. Companies who are looking for workers or companies who are looking for assignments. You filter through candidates based on the skills, experience, area, and availability. FlexiFinder then connects them together, quick and easy.
Okay. And also, usually when you have projects, time is very crucial. I mentioned the projects that are always delayed. One of the key subjects there is, of course, finding people very quickly. Yeah. How could you facilitate that, do you think?
Hard question.
Yeah. Impossible? Would you say so?
Yeah. I'm not prepared for that question.
Okay, sorry. Of course. Thank you very much. When talking about competence, that's of course one of the pitfalls for many companies, especially technology. We have a lack of skill, of course. But there are many more pitfalls. I work daily with companies from different parts of the world that are entering the Stockholm market, but also the Swedish market in general. And we have two experts here that are working with that, both Otto and Ralf. What pitfalls do you see when you help companies to expand here?
Well, the pitfalls I've seen for the past years, and it doesn't always include companies that come from other countries, but also Swedish. It is basically there are engineers answering those requests for proposals. So I reached out actually for the past days here to my clients and asked them what is the biggest benefit they actually contribute with in their processes, and they said that not being an engineer within the construction business actually helped them out to understand what the customers are asking for. So the challenge is to read between the lines what the customers want. It could be within the environmental issues. So, for instance, many companies can add aspects, solutions, engineering, and things like that that are more sidewise what is asked for in the request for proposal. For instance, more aesthetics on the solar panels or microgrids or other solutions. Another thing is actually the building process need to be described as well. So you have to pay attention to the stakeholders, meaning that how would you perform it? How would you take care of the waste? How will you be dismantling it? How do you add the contribution of recycling? How do you inform the passing people on the street? How do you inform the authorities? How do you do that? How do you perform that? And that is often neglected or omitted in many terms, because the focus is always on the engineering, the calculations, and all the things. So that is pretty much what I see that the companies that would like to enter the Swedish market forget.
I think, Ott, you kind of work with almost the same things, but one thing that many companies ask me is, okay, how can I find clients in Sweden? How can I approach them? Do you have any strategies when you work with them on how to facilitate those meetings? I know it could be quite tricky sometimes.
Well, this question really shouldn't be aimed toward me, actually, because I come into the part where my clients already have found some projects. So one thing that all of them could definitely do is have more advisors in the project finding part. Because what I usually see is that foreign contractors agree on project terms already, but they don't know the actual costs that this project is going to mean for them, especially when it comes to workforce. Because foreign contractors are usually used to doing things according to their country laws, and for some reason they expect that Sweden works similarly. And depending on the country, the two modus operandis could be very different. For example, Sweden has not so many labor laws in comparison to other countries. Instead, they have unions that regulate their sectors. And it's very important to know how the unions work, both the workers' unions and the company unions, and to know what costs to expect, especially when it comes to minimum salaries, extra pensions, if you are allowed to use daily allowance or not, which is a common factor when doing cost calculations for foreign companies. So, so to summarize, one pitfall is definitely underestimating costs. Also, another pitfall is underestimating the slowness of Swedish bureaucracy in the beginning of the market entry. And thinking that things can be done fast and that exceptions can be made for them, and that's not the case. Prep work is really important, both in Ralph's department when it comes to selling the trust and selling your selling points in a way that's digestible for a Swedish client, but also knowing the time frame when you can actually start to do a project and have all the T's crossed and I's dotted.
A very important thing, the time frame, right? You mentioned the Swedish bureaucracy. Do you have an example of which of these bureaucratical moments is the worst, in your experience?
My experience is that the worst moment is getting a collective bargaining agreement with the Byggnads union, which controls a lot of the different sectors in construction. It can be woodworks, concrete, welding on site. It's lots of different professions that Byggnads governs. That is one of the worst things, because the time frame can be quite long, and there are very many details and industry secrets that you need to know to successfully sign a collective bargaining agreement. If you don't know the time frame, then you can overpromise to a client, for example, when you can start on these projects. So that is one factor. And the other factor, which is a bit simpler but can also be nightmarish, is getting the F-tax registration, which is one of the most basic ones, but still people underestimate how long it can take.
Thank you very much. And Rolf, I see you would like to comment on that.
Just to comment that far too many tendering processes have been aborted. So it's very essential that you make a due diligence. You understand what you're actually responding to. And I was saying about the reading between the lines, because you cannot do some brand washing afterwards, trying to put a layer on it, promising that you are environmental friendly or that you are high standard in security or labor and things like that, because people will see that through. So you can't do a lot of brand washing. Make sure you eventually have what is required and you make your due diligence well in time.
I'd like to come back to the questions I asked you, but I was supposed to ask you. I'm sorry for that. Regarding the efficient strategies for approaching Swedish clients, do you have like a one-stop tip for companies that want to do that?
Well, as everything goes between nations and cultures and things like that, don't think that everything is similar the way you normally do. So make sure you ask the questions rather than to answer them.
And I think an open question, I have two open questions to round up this panel. The first one is, what competitive advantage do you see foreign companies in the construction industry, but also in real estate, has on the Swedish companies? Because the Swedish market is has been quite closed for a couple of years. You have 5 or 6 very big companies. One of them is of course present here, so I'm not going to push too far. But it is in need of innovation. It is in need of getting a broader competition in the market. So what do you think these companies, these new ones, can bring to the table? An open question. Yeah, Ralph?
May I start? I actually wrote down in advance here what to answer on that question. And I think 2 things for especially Polish companies that might be in favor entering the Swedish market. One is we should just remember that we just entered NATO, and Poland has been in NATO for very, very long, meaning that Sweden is preparing for war, meaning that we need huge investments in everything that is needed for the new bases, for the new infrastructure, for the movement of materials, for airfields, whatever. And that is expertise that Poland has doing such a transformation previously. So a lot of things going on there. The second thing I believe is prefabrication of modules, which might be cheaper to do, but also add some maybe new technologies, inventions from Poland, because it is more environmental friendly and it's so much smoother to prefabricate a lot of things, especially if you're mounting them within the cities or places where are hard to get into. So you don't build them on site, which is a trend as well. And I think those 2 can be huge advantages for Polish companies entering the Scandinavian market.
Running a bit short on time, maybe Ellen, would you like to comment on how it looks on the other side? What can your company bring to Poland? Just a short pitch.
Yeah, no, I think again, Poland has in general a higher energy consumption than Swedish or the Nordic buildings have got. So right now we can bring them lots of cost savings, of course, with these types of innovative solutions. And I must say that so far the Polish market has been very open. They're much more ready for the digitization. They kind of know that the regulations are coming. They know that they're going to have to address their energy consumption, and also they see, of course, massive financial savings. So for us, the Polish market is also from experience now when entering it, we seem to be very welcome.
Yes, I have to say it only. Always Sweden product company in Poland has very good opinion. It was in Poland, it was everything what was from Sweden, it was very high quality, and this thinking is still in our country.
And I think just to finalize on that, I mean, in Sweden we have a very long tradition of being very forward in terms of sustainability and kind of the Nordic way in saving nature and stuff. So I do think we can also monetize on that and just try and spread the word kind of thing. And I think being a Nordic company is actually a good thing in that context.
I would like to add that we also could benefit from better planning and preparing of the investments in Sweden. In Poland, we used to find shortcuts, how to do something quicker. Of course, there is another hand or side of this story. We keep time limitations, and our projects are prepared and delivered in very short time. But on the other hand, I think this model of the debative model in Swedish culture is something which is worth to follow and to find a better social understanding of why the investment is planned and what will be the outcome of the investment.
Last comments?
Yes, last comments. From a workforce perspective, two concrete competitive advantages I'd like to mention is one is a geographical area, that foreign companies can work in smaller areas in Sweden when there is not so much supply of local contractors, because for foreigners it doesn't matter where in Sweden you work, you're still abroad. And second is that products or skill sets that are urgently needed in Sweden, for example, electricity and plumbing sector, they see a huge gap that they themselves said can't be filled with local workforce up until 5 years when young people start to actually go to the profession and educate themselves.
Okay, so I think last questions before the last question before we open up for questions from the public, and also before our technician has to go home, which I promised him that he will be able to do very soon. Very shortly, in all your opinion, how will the construction real estate industry look like in 10 years?
On my.
Yeah, please.
I will spoke a little bit from my horizon. From answering, a lot of person says we need more hands to work. I don't agree with that sentence. We need more preparing more effective tools, systems, technology, IT. For example, I worked 1 month ago in Poland in warehouses to preparing racks in these warehouses. In this building, 60,000 meters square. It will be working only 4 persons. It will be manage the robots. Everything, it will be the robots. It is the solution. In future, more or less, we have drones, mobile scannings, autonomic arms on the buildings. Of course, we are going to models houses, models building. We have to thinking about how we can preparing something better quickly, and we don't we have to stop to thinking that we need much more hands to work.
Would like to comment on that?
I think when we are on construction sites, I think it's already now many digital things where they put out the walls automatically with robots. I think it's amazing, and it's much digital coming, I think.
Jan, do you have a comment?
It's not that easy to comment because these are the most, let's say, topic, the peak of our expectations for the market. But I would like to stress another issue that we may face in terms of 7-10 years, the construction that is climate resilient. I mean, I'm pretty much sure that we will find a lot of new materials and new solutions that will address the issue of sea level increase, of extreme weather conditions that we face every day, almost every day, recently in Poland. a few weeks ago, and we need to find a good solution for that. This is one of the key characters, I think, that will characterize the construction industry in coming years. And the second one are renovations, as we are approaching the ETS2 system starting from 2026, and that will deeply influence how we construct, what we construct, how we renovate. And I think that this huge flood of renovations will cover many cities and areas in Europe.
I'll take from I'll take from here. One way that technology concretely can improve the area where I work in 5 to 10 years is if we look at the example of Finland, because they have implemented technology to gather data much more efficiently, and they have put more responsibility on the main contractor. It's much more of a responsibility for the main contractor to keep track of all of their subcontractors from top to bottom. And to do this, the unions, the employer unions have gone together to create software solutions which enable data gathering both from contractors but also data presented to tax agency, insurance companies and all sorts of other companies. So it will be much easier to monitor all the companies and make sure that you have serious actors on the work site, which will also reduce the obstacles for foreign companies to help, because one of the main reasons the obstacles are here is that Sweden wants to keep out criminal actors. And Finland is a bit ahead in that, and it's possible to walk the same path, I think.
So trends in the future, right? Maybe it's because I'm just speaking in favor of something that I am very fond of, and it's thinking in recycled terms. A lot of interior now is recycled. At least a lot of organizations and construction companies in Sweden try to recycle, but and regulations are coming along as well in Sweden here, vaguely right now. But I would believe it is a unique sales proposition that you can actually work with as a construction company on recycling. Both in terms of environmental issues, but also in terms of financial. So I mean, concrete, iron, maybe wooden parts, but also interior. And here, architects are also involved. Like, can we reuse lamps? Can we reuse walls? Can we reuse glass? And so on. So I believe that in 10 years that will be more natural thing, but also demanded for by the buying part.
And be super quick then. No, I see that this is two-faced, right? We have to, in all things that we do, construction and building operations, we have to make sure that we minimize the carbon footprint, clearly. That's kind of all efforts are going towards that. But we also need to look at when we are consuming, because actually the energy system today isn't under stress all hours of the day. We know that during nighttime, in many places energy is cheap, and then you can rely on renewable sources, and then the carbon footprint is much, much, much lower. So it's also about using technology to make sure that you actually work with the energy system, because that will also make us much quicker in the transformation to electricity and to electrical. So right now I think that we have to look at it both ways.
Includes the official schedule of the panel, at least. Jerry, you're the boss. Do we have time for one or two questions from the public? I think we had one question from there. I think it was the first question, actually. So maybe we'll start with you.
First of all, thank you for stopping me early on, because I changed my question several times based on what you all said. First a question, then a conclusion. The question is to all, but if somebody wants to pick it up. How will the end of war in Ukraine have different aspects on the big construction business when it comes to like employees, public construction in Sweden and Poland, when you have like large contracts in Ukraine for Skanska and so forth, for the smaller companies? So just elaborate on any aspect of that question.
You mean the end of the war?
Yeah, there will be an end of the war.
Of course.
Or end of the world.
I would believe that for now, up to the point, that is preparing for very much infrastructure and all the fortification, whatever we want to build. And that goes throughout Europe. Secondly, it's within energy and self-sufficient, so we do water and energy and things like that need to be done. But at the end of the war, it is like at every end of a war, nativity goes up, people are happy, and they want to expand. So a lot of new apartments and houses.
We have in Poland a special in television show, one of them, and then their person says on me the question. I don't agree with you. In Poland works on the construction a lot of great people from Ukraine. When I am answering, so day by day I going to another construction and see a lot of person from our neighbors, and in my opinion, a lot of these great men back to own country. In Poland, in my opinion, it will be shock, because the prices of Polish workers rise very high. Also, perhaps the cost of the materials, it will also rise. So maybe everyone be happy, yes, of course, but buildings, it will be very, very expensive. It is maybe the last chance to prepare some good construction. So please don't wait, start to do it.
May I? Yeah. Okay, I agree that we will face a challenge, a huge challenge with demand for construction materials within the CEE region. This is for sure. But when we stick to labor forces, we already, many Ukrainians already disappeared from the Polish market. Before the war started, we had almost 400,000 Ukrainian workers in construction industry. Now we had 31,000. According to official statistics, so they already disappeared.
I actually also have a comment from the Swedish. Just quickly, I think it will be a huge problem because there's a lot of public procurements that will probably be announced in the next 10 years. So if the war ends, of course, the Swedish construction companies will go to Ukraine because that's where the money is. You have a country you have to rebuild, and you have American money behind it. So it's the perfect combination. Probably, yes.
So I agree with the inflation aspect. I actually like every answer. So I agree with everyone, and disagree with everyone because I'm Swedish-Polish. So I have, and I'm schizophrenic. I'm also like Italian or something else. I like summation for everyone. The different perspectives is why you kind of seek each other. Why you're here with Swedish-Polish Chamber of Commerce, Svensk-Polska Handelskammaren. When you enter Poland, understand the Polish culture. We are like two of us are born in Poland, raised in Sweden. One of us is back in Poland. So and we are very small. We are like, perhaps we are a scale. I don't know, where's the number? So try to understand the culture and the same coming to Sweden. That's like the most important, the perspective, the culture. We are all the same, like historically with kings and so forth, but we are so different. Anyway, so just understand each other and use Jerry and the other ones who are of great help for us and will be of great help for you.
That's a very nice ending note. I was supposed to open up for one question. Yes, do we have another question somewhere in the back?
So happy that we were so clear.
Yeah, perfect. Nobody? Okay, let's get Mats home, I guess. Thank you very much for listening in today, and thank you very much for the attention. And thank you to all your panelists and all the speakers today. You were absolutely fantastic, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my task now is to say thank you once more to everyone. This is the end of Zoom streaming, so there is nothing more for the online viewers, but there is a lot of more for us who are here in Stockholm. To start with, Dana, are you here somewhere? We have these wonderful cakes that have been mentioned, and many of you have tasted them before. If you haven't, it is really a treat. The best Polish cheesecake and the best Polish cake with nuts in the world. There is a 5-year guarantee coming with them. So just take the opportunity and please network a lot and do business. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much.